And for more on the health of China's services sector, I'm going to bring in Mr. Liu Zhiqin, Senior Fellow at Renmin University's Chongyang Institute for Financial Studies. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Liu. So Caixin's April services PMI number, that was a bit softer compared to March, but it was still at a level that showed robust expansion of services activity. So what's your take on the strength of China's service sector recovery in the first 4 months of the year?
I believe that the figure released is very logical because we can compare the figure the last month, of course, the 1.4% lower than March, but still within this expectation. Why? Because in March and in February in China, the service sector developed quite well, and they have a high consumption in China. So the service section in these 2 months, they have, I should say, overheated. So that's why they have over 57% at that time. But now this April is a little bit get cooling, and also they have to prepare for the high consumption period in May, the May Day or the Labor Day. So that's why the whole April, the service section is a little bit cooling than before. This is quite normal, I should say. But actually, the other side is that we know that the uncertainties in global market, especially during this special time when the geopolitical and the conflicts in Europe, and also some orders that have reduced for some special products in services sections, and the connections with the outside are a little bit also getting lower. But as you mentioned, that 56 is still a good point, a good figure for the future. So I mean that in the time to come, especially in May, in June and July, I think the service section will be further boosted because we need the good consumption to support the further economic recovery. So I believe that the strength of the service recovery will be strengthened and further developed.
So, Mr. Liu, we now have the official and private surveys of China's manufacturing and service sectors for April. Factory activity dipped into contraction territory in April due to softer demand, but of course, service activity, we saw those numbers remaining quite strong, both the official and the private sector readings. So looking at the bigger picture, should we be overly concerned about the strength of China's overall economic recovery, given that softer demand we saw in April's manufacturing PMI numbers?
I should say you have a very good question, because this question is also concerned by many experts and entrepreneurs in China. We have to see that some special signals that are released from this problem. First, from the production side, from the factory side, is getting weaker, and from other side, from demand side, is also softer demand. So from both sides, we are a little bit under pressure of the so-called depression. But it's not a real depression, but we should pay great attention and concern on this tendency in order to promote the further development of production and also to improve the market conditions in order to get a better result. Because as we know, in the past months, and especially during the meeting of the political bureau, they have already announced that the three pressures have been already slightly removed. The three pressure, as mentioned, that weaker expectation, harder supply, and also weaker demand. All this has been a little bit improved, but this improvement needs some time to get to in the reality. So we need some time to improve all the conditions. But we see a good signature or signal that from the construction side or from this infrastructure, over 60% higher. So that means we still have good points to support the economic overall. So, but we have to pay great attention to find a good balance side in manufacturing sector and in service sector. Otherwise we could have some more headwinds in the time to come. So we have only 8 months now this year. So we need a lot of jobs to improve all these conditions to get a better recovery result.
All right, Mr. Liu, many thanks for your perspectives on all of this. Mr. Liu Zhiqin, Senior Fellow at Renmin University's Chongyang